This is the Build Zone podcast.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Everybody, we're in for a special treat this week because not only is our guest on the podcast, a two-timer, probably two-timer club now, been on the podcast, but she's also a fan of the podcast, which makes it even better, right? So welcome to the podcast, Sarah Reinhard. Sarah, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me back, Mike. It's honestly an honor. I told Mike last time I saw him, the highlight of my last year in 2024 was becoming to be on the Build Zone podcast.
Well, that definitely means a lot to me because myself and Allison, we put a lot of heart and soul into the podcast. And you can't see it now, but I actually have a Christmas card from Sarah hanging up on my cube here. She was nice enough to send me a Christmas card, handwritten, by the way, not just like a stamped Merry Xmas card, like handwritten, like a paragraph, very well, very, very well. Meant a lot to me, so I saved it. You know, most cards we just save for later, but I'm hanging on the cube. Can't see it, but it's back there. So welcome to the podcast. Last time you kind of had to do it together with Matt Ryan. We said Matt Schmatt. We get rid of him. We don't need him. We'll have him on a separate time. He's too busy running Falmouth road races. He's too busy for us. Too busy. But we got Sarah. So Sarah, for those people that don't know you and who don't know who you are, you were last on episode 110. That was 60 episodes ago, about a year. Tell us about yourself and what you do for RCL and how you came to work for RCL Mechanical.
Sure. So my name is Sarah Reinhard. I work in business development at RCL Mechanical. We are a plumbing and HVAC company out of Rainham, Massachusetts. We service both Massachusetts and Rhode Island. This was actually a big career pivot for me. I came from the teaching world and then took a leap into the construction industry, and I've honestly never looked back. I'm really passionate about building relationships, building connections, and really leading with authenticity. I think that's something that's really important and something that can kind of be missed within the construction industry. And then that's been my focus going forward.
And, I'm seeing you guys come to a ton of events. Seeing you guys events is great. And talking to Rich and talking to Mark, when they presented the idea of coming to work for a mechanical company, what was your response to that? You're like, what did you say to them?
Honestly, I was just ready to make a change. And I know it sounds cheesy, but I just believed in myself where I said, I can make this work. I don't know what it entails. I don't know what it looks like. But if I put the time and effort in, I can know it can be something that I can succeed in. And truthfully, I've been very lucky to do so ever since. But it comes with a lot of transferable skills that come from teaching. I think a lot of times the construction industry as a whole can have this picture of what it is, and it's really so much more and so much deeper than what it may seem like from the outside.
And I know what you started with RCL Mechanical, and you've kind of got, I'm calling it promoted a bunch of times, right? Because you kind of started. What did you start doing there when you first got there?
I started as a coordinator. So we do have two different departments. We have our residential and our commercial department. So I started working as an estimating coordinator, helping getting different bids in and things like that. And I very quickly learned that my strong suit is connecting with people. Yeah. So I was able to do that in that beginning role and then have really just taken that. And I think it's because I've leaned into who I am as a person. And when I first came on this podcast, even about a year ago, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I think I was a little nervous almost to say that I didn't have the knowledge that necessarily my coworkers had. So going to plumbing school, it takes years, right? There's so many different things that you can learn and that you can know and that you have to in order to become a journeyman. So I felt a little intimidated coming in and not being necessarily quote unquote the smartest person in the room. Yep. But what I've learned is you don't necessarily have to be. You have to know the right person to go to or talk to. You need to be inquisitive and really phone in on your own personal strengths.
And like we talked about before we record, you could teach someone to be a plumber, but you can't teach someone to be passionate, right? And the same goes whether you're a student or an employee or a company. You could teach someone the skills. You just can't teach them how to be passionate. And what you're passionate about, like I said, was the connecting with people, the networking piece. I know that from when you started with RCL Mechanical and you started with apprenticeship stuff, you kind of took it and ran with it. I was saddened to see you go because I had to train someone else down there, but I was sad. But the crew down there at RCL is amazing. One of the things I love about them is they're just out there getting it done, right? They're just whether they're taking people who used to be teachers and bring them into the team, and they saw that spark in you, and they took it and ran with it. What are some of the things you're most proud of down there at RCL Mechanical?
I'm definitely proud personally of how I've been able to incorporate my personality into the construction industry and in here at RCL Mechanical. So I definitely have a more bold and outgoing personality. I'm really bubbly. And if you go into my office, you'll see that my desk is actually full of flowers. So I have like sticker flowers everywhere, which you would never expect, right, in what you consider a construction industry. And when I first started, I was a little nervous to have that be a part of myself and who I am here. But I kind of leaned into that and realized, no, this is who I am. And that's what comes off to be authentic.
Yep.
And in the industry, that's what's important. You have to build trust. You can't build trust if you're not being who you truly are. So when I talk to people, that's what I lead with. I really lead with, building those relationships to drive the results because of my authenticity and who I am.
Is that the weirdest thing in your cube is just flower stickers? That's it?
Oh no,
All right.
it is pretty. People like it's.
Yeah.
I have a very busy personality, so there's things everywhere. I have a ton of ABC swag. I have hats. I have all the different things I get from the events. I have postcards. You name it, I have it hanging up there. It looks like my fridge. Like, when you have a fridge that looks like throw up, that's my cube, is everything I've done that I'm proud of. I have my first ever proposal that I got signed and contract and things like that. So
that's great.
mhm.
But I think a lot of people, your cube is a reflection of yourself, right? My cube's got,
Yes.
I've got like crazy stickers and crazy magnets, and I got swag everywhere. I got Marine Corps stuff, and I got Lego stuff and Rick and Morty stuff, and I don't know, I got all sorts of jazz and stuff in the background that's just, more like reminds me of things, things my kids gave me or whatever. But yeah, I agree with you. The cubicle, again, you spend so much time in your cube, right? 20 hours a day, 5 days a week, 40 hours a week in your cube.
I have a fish now. I got a fish too for my cube. Yeah, I have a fish named Taki. So it's again something else where it's like it's a reminder, this is my space. If I'm going to be there, as you were saying, you are spending your time, you're your best self where you feel comfortable and when you feel excited. And that's who you are going to portray yourself to potential customers, clients, and partners.
And you did mention something about going to a plumbing school. You're still in plumbing school?
I did tier one, yeah. So I did tier
one,
one, and then I got married, so I took a brief break, but I did do tier one.
Just think about once you finish, you'll be able to go to plumbing work at your house by yourself. People will be hiring you to go, do your plumbing stuff. That's that's hey, that's quite the trade you're gonna do. So what do you think is next for you at RCL Mechanical? What's next? You just, president, CEO, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, those do have some nice rings to it, but no, truthfully, I this year my goal has been to focus on different language within the company. So we talk about setting goals, but really focusing on what's the difference between a goal and a target. So a target is something that we have to hit. And how do we do that? That's by focusing on things by habit setting. So making sure you do the same thing consistently, you do what you say, and you say what you're going to do, and really building those partnerships. I think something that stands us apart from other plumbing companies, and there's a million other great plumbing companies out there, but it's really been my focus to make sure that we have strong partnerships. Our goal is always to be that person that someone calls when they need something. It's going to be that person that they know they can trust, that they're going to perform at the level that they say they're going to, because that's what we pride ourselves on, is we provide quality in what we do. And when I speak about these things, when I'm either meeting someone or we're reviewing a proposal, I can say those things with confidence because I know what's being done in the field. Every single person that's working in day out, they're proud to be a part of the RCL Mechanical team, and the level that they produce at is something unbeatable. So they really truly make my job easy because I can sit in front of someone and be very transparent about what our day-to-day looks like.
One of the things I like about RCL Mechanical, and if you follow them on social media, on Instagram or LinkedIn or any of the social media channels, they believe in the company culture of things, right? So why do you think, what do they do at RCL Mechanical that sets them apart, maybe culture wise?
I think culture often can kind of be a buzzword that every company likes to have culture. You have to, especially in now today's day, right? But if you don't live by it, it's not going to be at the forefront. And we truly live by culture. That is what stands us apart. Both the owners, Mark and Rich, have always said they wanted to grow the company as large as they can, but not to a point where you lose that mom and pop shop feel. So each person from the field to the office to the CEO or the COO, they know everyone who's walking in the door, and they know that you can rely on one another. That's what it is. It's a team. It's not a small group of team. It's a team from the top to the bottom and everywhere in between, and knowing that you can rely between them.
If you had some advice for someone, right? If you had if someone was looking to make a change like you did,
Mhm.
what was some advice you would give them?
I would say to sit down and take a look at what your strengths are. So, just because I've been successful focusing on my bubbly personality, I'm definitely an extrovert. It doesn't mean someone who's an introvert can't be successful in this role. You really have to sit down and say, what are my strengths and how can I use that to be transparent about who I am and what I'm doing? I think you have to really be comfortable in who you are as a person and then use those skills in whatever role that you're trying to go into.
Now, being a teacher, what age group were you being a teacher for?
Middle school.
Yeah, you don't miss that at all.
I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today if I was still a teacher. I'll say that. I
All
think
right.
teachers are very, very important, but I feel very lucky that honestly, working in this industry, I never thought I'd be on a construction podcast. That in
Yeah.
itself has been, you best believe when Mr. Maloney called me up and said, hey, I called my mom right away. I
Yep.
told everyone, I said, guess what? I'm so
Man,
proud that I get to do this because 2 years ago, I never thought I'd be doing this. So I feel very excited and honored to be able to do it two
but,
times now, too.
but like we said, we have a lot of people on the podcast, right? Every week we have someone on. Not everybody has the same energy, bubbliness. I've had people on before, and at the end, I'm like, oh God, this is how do you spin this one so people are going to want to listen, right? You want to have someone that got some energy, a little bit, some energy to them, some good vibe to them, someone that gets it, someone likes to talk, because I'm the same way, right? I love to talk, right? So when someone says wants to start a podcast, I'm like, yeah, you pay me to talk, I can do this all day long, right? The fact that it's an ABC podcast is even better because I get to mingle and talk to people like you or even Mark and Rich and see them at
Right.
events, and they know who I am, and I can tease them and say, what do I got to do to get you guys on? And it's people look forward to coming on. The podcast is grown into this machine now where people like I haven't heard there hasn't been a new one in a couple of weeks here because we've been busy doing other things. But now that we're back, people will get back in the routine of doing things. And it just gives companies like RCL Mechanical to have employees on and talk about their company. It's I don't think RCL Mechanical could probably have a better spokesperson than you
Oh,
because
that's nice.
yeah, you started where you started at. And I talked to Richie about it. Richie said she's amazing. She just gets it, right? She comes into work, she's in a great mood. That's infectious and passes on to other people in the business. Um, what do you think? If you could change one thing about the construction world, you've been doing it for a while now. What would you change? What do you think would be a big change you would do?
I think it's people's almost understanding about the construction industry. I think understanding it's not just as necessarily, about pipes or about the building. It's really about the people. And if people took a minute to understand it's about people at the end of the day, there may be more opportunities for women to come in. Women might feel more comfortable, people of different personalities, of different interests, because that's what makes a good company too, is that diversity. If
Yep.
everyone's coming in and has the same background, has the same ideas, they might be able to project forward, but they're going to come to a stopping point. So I would like people to stop and realize it's really not about the building. It's about the people and the end product. Even you think, now you have a beautiful new warehouse, right? At the end of the day, it's the people that go in that make that warehouse function every day.
And 20 years from now, that warehouse will still be standing, and you'll be able to tell your children, your grandchildren, whatever. I helped build that. And that building went up because I helped put the proposal together, or I helped do the estimating, or I helped
Right.
schedule the job. And on our side, on the school side of things, us putting 1,200 students a year through the school, that's a good feeling for us because then we know we're pumping people into the trades. We know that people say, and I'm sure you had the same thing. You can't hire good people, you can't find good people. The trades needs lots of people. We need plumbers, we need refrigeration techs, we need, where are those people? I don't know. Someone has to take a chance on someone like someone did with you, right? Someone's gonna say, listen, I know you were a I don't know, gas station person or a Home Depot guy, or you did for Amazon last week, and now you want to be a refrigeration tech. Let's do it. But
Right.
not everybody has that passion. Being in the trades takes, like you said, 5 years
It
to be a
takes
plumber.
work.
Yeah, you gotta. And not many people know this, especially in Massachusetts. But the tradespeople, most of them work full time during the day and then go to school at night,
And
right?
I,
So imagine working a full time job, 6 to 2:30, 7 to 3, 8 to 4. Then you got to leave your job, get in your car, either drive home and get on a Zoom, or drive to a location and sit in a class for 3 or 4 hours
right.
twice a week. And you're going to do that
It's
for
not
4 years.
easy.
It's not easy. And you know, that's what I'm saying. People say, oh, the trades these people. Why can't we get people? A lot of people get pushed to college after high school. some people get a career, whether it be a teacher or whether it be a scientist, a doctor, or whatever, or, and then they decide that they don't want to do that anymore. They want to get in the trades because that's just another option for them. They want to use their hands. They want to use their, what did
And
you
I
like?
think
What did you like the most
the
about your plumbing class? What did you like the most about? Because tier one is tough. That's all theory stuff. Not a lot.
honestly learning about it, I enjoy being knowledgeable in what I'm getting to talk about. I think being at a point to learn something new, one of my favorite saying is it's never too late to be brand new, right? And
Yep.
the only thing that's going to stop you is like you're saying, it's the ability to want to learn. So every day I sat in there, I learned way more than I even could comprehend sometimes, right? Like I'd have to come back and then it helped drive conversations with here. I would
Yep.
go to different people that I know this is what their strength is. Hey, can you help me with this? Can you explain this to me in another way? Because we were talking about this.
Yep.
And then now, I can walk through the store and I walk around. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a floor drain. Where like, you know what I mean? And now it sounds like silly, but I'm walking into a store. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a floor drain. Like plumbers, it'd be like, yeah, duh. But for me, an average person who never looked at that before, I was so proud
Yep.
of myself that that's what I was seeing. And then you say, okay, this is why it's actually there. This is
Yep.
how many per code you need to have.
Yep.
So it's really just exciting for me to learn something new.
Just start questioning every plumber out there. Just like, is that the right vent size? Is that a 1 inch
Right.
fence? Is that a S pipe? What are we doing here? That's not being hung the right way. So do you think you're going to eventually continue on and get your plumbing license? You think?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the goal. I think anything I can do to help the company grow and help myself grow, why not? Why wouldn't you do it? That's how I look at it.
So when Richie kicks down the door, Mark Mason kicks the door down and says, "Listen, Sarah, get your toolbox. We need help out here.
Oh,
You're gonna be out
sign me
there.
up.
Yeah,
Sign me up.
put your RCL Mechanical hat on and your overalls on and go out
That's
there and
right.
start
I
plumbing.
got the high vis. I got it. I'm ready
Yeah,
to go.
good for you. What about as far as, I know there's some other things, how do you think we can get more women in the trades?
I think it's just recognizing how many different spots and positions there are. So I think when we hear construction rate, we do consider the people who are working in the field. And at the end of the day, that is who we are. Like we would not be RCL with all of our journeymen, without all our foremen performing at the high level that they are. And I don't want to take away from that because that is RCL, right?
Mhm.
But I think a lot of times we don't recognize there's so many things that go in the background of it. And as a whole, that's just our vision. Is like, okay, it's someone who is putting the pipe in the wall. But there really are so many different things that go into it. So what's going on in the office? Who's who's doing payroll? Who's putting the estimates together? Who's organizing the contacts? Who's following up on the bids? Who's building these relationships? Who's overseeing everyone? Who's running the projects? Like the amount of roles that are available in any construction industry, it's huge. So I think continuing to highlight how many skills can be utilized is really important.
And then because this is the second time on the podcast, some advice to people listening that maybe would want to be on a podcast, but are a little bit nervous or skeptical. What advice would you give that person?
Take a chance. Take
Yeah.
a chance. What's the worst thing that happens? You listen back once and you hate it and then you never listen again, you know? But truthfully, I was even before this, of course, I got nervous and you say, what if I say something and then I said it wrong? And I remember the first time we sat down for the first podcast together, I started and then I said, Mike, we need to start over. I
Yep.
hated that. I don't even
Yep.
remember what I said, but I got nervous and I was like, start over.
Yep.
But it's, what's the worst thing that can happen at the end of the day? I feel lucky that I'm sitting here getting to represent myself as a person and as someone within the industry, but also to put RCL Mechanical out there. So I know it sounds a little cliche, but if one person listens and says, you know what, I think I'll give
Yeah.
RCL a call and see what they're about. Or if one person calls me and says, hey, was listening, would love to know more what it's about to be a woman in the trades, or just want to connect on a person to person level. To me, that's worth taking the chance of what this could be.
Yeah. And then, I tell people all the time, right? If you say something on here you don't want to say, we can edit it out. But a lot of times people just love the authenticity of it all, right?
Right.
So I've had some people come on and say, "Oh, I got a real bad mouth. I'm going to swear a lot. I got my finger on the censor button real quick," and they never say anything. And then it's
Yeah.
like, I thought you're gonna, and I've had some people that I never thought would swear drop the F bomb, and I said, "Oh man, I gotta edit that out real quick." And I said, "No, I'm just gonna leave it. Just it's part of the authenticity of that person, right?"
Right.
We all try not to use those words. We're trying to be professional as possible, but it slips out. Well, I appreciate you coming on for the second time. I appreciate you listening. I appreciate being a friend of the podcast. I appreciate being a friend of mine.
Absolutely.
I think it's fantastic. I think what you guys are doing on there is awesome. I know that you are very accessible, and I'm going to say the entire RCL Mechanical gang from Rich all the way down. You can send a message, and they've got this marketing machine down there. I can reach out to Richie right now. He'll get back to me. I usually tease him a little bit. Same with Mark. I know they're very busy. I know they're very, very busy guys, and they all take the time to get back to me. Same with you. If anybody out there want to get a hold of you or have questions about RCL Mechanical, what's the best way to do it?
So you can always find me on LinkedIn. It's just my name, Sarah Reinhard. And if you're looking to reach me through RCL, you can email estimating@rclmechanical.com, and we will be happy to provide you whatever you might need. Hopefully, going forward, we're your next favorite plumbing partner or your
Love it.
mechanical partner.
And RCL Mechanical has been a sponsor in the past, so we're
That's
very
right.
happy. Yeah, we love our stuff. I actually have my RCL Mechanical hat in the car that I wear if I need to go someplace in the car.
I love
All
it.
right. Now this is Sarah's second time on, so we're not going to play lightning round. And she did prepare for lightning round, so I feel bad for this. But we're going to do Stump the Millennial, Sarah edition, and we're going to ask her 10 pop culture questions, and I'm going to see how she does. Yeah, let's see if I can stump the millennial.
I was even ready to say that a hot dog is not a sandwich. I was ready to go. I had my reasoning.
We can still, yeah, we can still at the end. All right, so here we go. What is the name of the popular social media app that allows users to create a short video set to music?
TikTok.
All right, that's it. Boom. You're one
Woo!
for one. That's
All
fantastic.
right.
Who did Jennifer Lopez wed in 2022 and then divorce in 2025 after being previously engaged to him almost 20 years earlier? He's a Boston guy. He's from Boston.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we got her, I think.
Yeah, I feel like I can see him, but I don't think it's gonna come to me.
All
It's
right, what if I gave you his first name? Ben.
Ben? I don't think I'm gonna get this one.
Ben Affleck.
Oh, duh.
All
Oh,
right, so I
yeah,
got her.
okay.
Oh, all right, okay, I thought.
All right, 1-1.
1-1. All right. What is Eleven's favorite food in Stranger Things?
I've actually never seen Stranger Things. I'm gonna go pasta. It's a random guess, but I never got into it.
It's actually Eggo waffles.
Oh, I've seen the
Eggo
costumes.
waffle.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Okay.
What is the name of the fictional spokesperson Progressive Insurance has had since 2008?
Hello.
All right, 2-2. All right.
I'm sweating over here.
She's sweating. All right. Let's see here. All right, there are 3 actors in the Marvel Cinematic Universe named Chris. Can you name them?
Chris, 1, 2, and 3. There's no way I'm coming up with these ones.
Chris, you gotta know. All right, well, so 3 Chris's. Chris starts with an H. You must know the guy that played Thor.
Chris Hemmingsworth.
We're gonna give you that. Hemsworth. We're gonna give you
Hemingway?
that one. We're gonna give you Hemsworth. You were close. We're gonna give you that one. The next one is Chris E. Starts with an E. He's another Boston guy. Grew up in Boston. Chris Evans.
Correct.
And then how about the last is Chris P. Chris with a P. Guardians of the Galaxy guy. He was in Parks and Rec. He was in Parks and Rec, yeah. All right, Chris Pratt. Chris
All right.
Pratt.
Luckily, my RCL knowledge is a little bit stronger than my pop culture knowledge. So,
All right, so it's 2-3 now. So let's see. What rapper is besties with Martha Stewart?
oh, Snoop Dogg.
All right, 3-3. All right. Oh my goodness, getting out of the. Who coined the phrase "hot girl summer"?
Lizzo.
No.
Oh,
Take a second chance. Take a second chance. We'll give you the second chance.
wasn't.
Her name has 3 words in it.
Can I get the first word?
Oh, the middle word is the.
Oh, Megan Thee Stallion.
All right, we'll give you that one. All right.
Uh,
If I said Megan, you would have got it. But
yeah.
all right, let's see here.
I don't know if I deserve that one.
What singer holds the record for the most Grammy nominations?
Taylor Swift.
No. Second chance. I'll give you a
Beyonce?
second chance. Nope. Beyonce. All right. 5-3. You gotta get these last two for me to stop you. I'm gonna give you a couple of questions. Go. Let's see here. Ooh, this is a good one. What Disney princess was originally intended to be a villain? What Disney princess?
Snow White?
Good guess, but no. I'll give you one last chance on that one. It's a recent one. It's a relatively
Tiana?
newer. Nope. It's going to be Elsa.
Oh, I didn't know that.
5-4. All right, let's see if I can get one. I don't want to get one that's going to be too. All right, here we go. This is good. Pop culture, right? This is for a tie. This is for the tie.
Okay.
What is the name of Kim Kardashian and Kanye West's oldest child?
True North.
That is correct. And you have won.
Woo!
And you have
Oh
won.
my
That was
gosh.
excellent. Wow.
I mean, I didn't do great. I
Man,
don't know
let's
if I
say you
can
won
really be
6-4.
proud of that one, but
So unfortunately, I did not. This time did not stump the millennial. Congratulations.
you almost did.
No,
I don't know if I'm going to make the millennials
no,
proud, but
you fought back. You fought back and did a great job. All right, everybody. That's our friend Sarah from over at RCL Mechanical. Sarah, appreciate coming on. Don't really get off, but we appreciate coming on. Second time, Two Timers Club. We'll have to have you on for the third time. There's very few people get invited back for the third time.
ooh,
So
fingers crossed.
we'll see.
That'll
All right.
be a real honor.
All right. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys.